welcome to another fabulous episode of Mr. Johnson is Hiding Tabs. One, the rest are hidden. All right, today, where's the error? Study the hierarchy. So, what we're looking at right here is kind of like a hierarchy. What that means is there's something at the very top that is kind of a broad term, a generic term, quadrilaterals. And then as we go down on the hierarchy, we get more specific. So if we're looking at this, we start off with four-sided polygons. Those are what quadrilaterals are, four-sided polygons. And then we move into non-parallelograms and parallelograms. So let's remember, basically, if we're going to create this hierarchy with kind of the actual traits or attributes of these items, first we'd start off with quadrilaterals. What that means is a four-sided, four-angle polygon. So this is any polygon with four sides and four angles. And as you can see, then they branch off into two different sections. And on this one, we have parallelograms and non-parallelograms. Let's see if I can fit it. Barely. All right, so spacing wasn't perfect on that. All right, so parallelograms. Remember, from parallelograms, what that basically means is it has two sets of parallel sides. All right, so everything that branches off of this should have two sets of parallel sides. All right, so let's go ahead and look at what they've given us. So let me zoom out a little bit more. All right, so when we look at this, we had, oops, I don't know why I can't, there we go. We had this shape, and unfortunately, they did not totally include all of our markings that show us side congruency. Then we have this shape, and then we have this shape, which looks like the first one, but these sides do not look congruent on all four sides. And then finally, we have this shape. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's identify these. So this one over here, we have two sets of parallel sides, right? So this side, these two sides are parallel, these two sides are parallel. And then if you'll notice, all four sides are congruent. So what you're looking at, because there's four congruent sides, that's a rhombus, right? So it's a parallelogram with four congruent sides, four congruent or the same size sides. All right. The next one we're looking at, is it a parallelogram? It has one set of parallel sides, right? The top and the bottom, but then these trap into a triangle, right? So these two sides are not parallel. So that actually makes this one a trapezoid, which is a non-parallelogram. So in fact, this thing right here should be hanging out over here as a non-parallelogram. Once again, the reason why it's a non-parallelogram is it doesn't have two sets of parallel sides. It only has the one set of parallel sides. These lines, these sides are parallel. However, if we follow the other lines on the trapezoid, they would touch or intersect. So trapezoid is not in a good place. All right, right here, this is just your typical parallelogram. What I mean by that is you do have two sets of parallel sides. Those would go on, never touch. I'm sorry, sometimes my lines don't line up totally. Those would go on and never touch. But the sides are not congruent. So this one is just a parallelogram, which is okay. it fits under our parallelogram umbrella right here. So everything that comes off of this should be a parallelogram. Shape 1 is, shape 3 is. Let's check shape 4. So shape 4 was a rectangle. We know that because not only does it have two sets of parallel sides, so it's a parallelogram, but it has four 90-degree angles. So that one right there, rectangle. As we talked about yesterday in class, in German, rect is right. So really, rectangle means right angles. So there you go. So out of all the things that do not fit, there's only one thing that is in the wrong place. The trapezoid, shape number 2, is a non-parallelogram. So they should have put the trapezoid under the non-parallelogram side. So shape 2 really belongs over here under non-parallelograms. So use the stems below to discuss what you're thinking. Once again, um, make your own stems. Make your own discussion posts. If yours look word for word like somebody else's from previous in the discussion, that's going to be an incomplete. Put it into your own words, even if you're influenced by your friends' awesome thoughts. All right, you can add on to that in the discussion. You could even say, like, I agree with what blah, blah, blah said, and I noticed that blah, blah, blah. All right, so I noticed that we're looking at a hierarchy chart. I noticed that we're looking at a breakdown of quadrilaterals. I noticed that we are looking at attributes of quadrilaterals. I noticed that we are looking at a uh, a look at both parallelograms and non-parallelograms. So these are all things that we can notice about this. So all of these shapes have four sides. All of these shapes have four angles. These are all noticings. All right, they're the same. Basically, every shape on here is a parallelogram except for one. So we have the same attributes of shape 1, shape 3, and shape 4. So they are the same. Shape 1, shape 3, and shape 4 are all parallelograms. Those are the same. All right, so they're different. Shape 2 is a non-parallelogram. Shape 2 is a trapezoid, so it should not be in the parallelogram section. It should be in the non-parallelogram section because it only has one set of parallel sides. So they are different because the trapezoid is in the wrong place. Okay, so and then of course that is the error. So if you want to write that, the error, they are different because the error is they put the trapezoid in parallelograms when the trapezoid is not a parallelogram because it has one set of sides that is not parallel. All right. And then finally, wonderings. Wonderings could be like, where are the kites and other quadrilaterals that we talked about yesterday? Where would those go? Those would go on non-parallelograms. Other questions might be like, why didn't they include the lines to show congruency of sides? Another question could be, why didn't they show the angles to show, or the squares to show that they had 90-degree angles? Um, we have lots of different things about these that we can wonder. All right, maybe you're wondering, it's just like, why is a rhombus and a parallelogram look the same but they're different? And we can say the rhombus has four congruent sides where a parallelogram does not necessarily have four congruent sides. But remember, a rhombus is a parallelogram always, but um, a parallelogram is not always a rhombus. It's sometimes a rhombus when it has four congruent sides. So you can use some of those same kind of things that we talked about yesterday, where it's like, it is sometimes this, it is always this. A rhombus is always a parallelogram, but a parallelogram is only sometimes a rhombus because a rhombus has four congruent sides. A rectangle is always a parallelogram, but a parallelogram is only sometimes a rectangle when it has four 90-degree angles. All right, so use all four stems for full credit, and please use your own words. And if you're influenced by somebody previously in the discussion, just say, I agree, or something like that with this person. Okay, so happy Friday. I hope you have success with this. Don't forget to do your quiz. Hopefully you watch the video before you did your quiz. I think that should be it. So I hope you all have a great weekend after today, and like and subscribe if you feel like it. And I will see you later. Have a great afternoon or day or whatever. I'll see you later. Bye.